All right. We're here. We're here again. For those of you who are
By a
hanging
thread.
on with us, lust in the thread. It's like a silk thread. This is Plunked. This is the show where we celebrate two baseball teams, one city of Chicago. And what a bunch of horse shit. How you doing tonight, Kristen?
Well, I'm all right because mine's been horse shit all year. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm doing all right.
That's good to hear. Because there's other things in life besides sports,
It
besides Chicago sports. There damn well better be.
well, yeah. Well, we like a little pain and agony.
We love it. That's all we got.
Yeah, yeah. So we keep on coming back.
Keep on coming back.
We cannot help ourselves,
God damn it.
even
And
when we
it's
know it's not gonna be good.
oh my God. So here we sit. I've lost track. 6 games, 7 games back now.
I think it's 6, but
About
someone
to be
keeps
7.
explaining it that it's more like 7.
It's more like 7 already because we've lost the tiebreaker, any
Yeah,
tiebreaker.
yeah.
So we're looking at, by the way things are going, getting their asses beat again tonight. We're gonna be looking at like 8 games back by the end of the night. And yeah, I'm calling the game already in the 7th inning. Yeah, I've watched enough of this team all year to be able to rightfully be in my feelings about this right now.
Angry sports fans are some of the most hilarious people.
We got a city full of them.
Yeah, that's why it's hilarious.
Got a city full of them. I don't know what our numbers are as far as sports radio and the number and whatnot, but they got to be high because we love this abuse. We take it. It's a dysfunctional relationship that we have with these teams. It's an abusive
It is. It
relationship
is. Yeah. It's like Stockholm syndrome.
by
Um,
these billionaire team owners who just keep dangling the carrot, just dangling it, but never able to. We're never able to get the carrot, the sweet carrot.
no.
I mean, yes, if shout out to the Blackhawks, they had a really good run. But that's not what I'm talking about, damn it. I'm talking about this White Sox team. What a disappointing team. I have never been more disappointed. I wasn't this disappointed in the last Bears Super Bowl.
Mm. Wow.
Maybe because the Super Bowl was just one game of pain.
Yeah.
This
And at
is
least it was the Super Bowl.
yes. Yes. It was the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So at
It was
least
one win away from the whole
right.
thing. So you can
Up until then, they have been a good team.
you can hang your hat on that. But this, like missing the playoffs
Yeah.
for this
In a
team,
year that they weren't supposed to.
the year that they were supposed to walk away with the Central, and even all the pundits and gambling people still were saying the Sox are going to win it. Is late as July still,
Yeah.
and we hadn't been in first place since May at that point. And people still said, no way, the Sox will get it together. And this isn't the Yankees or the Red Sox or any of the darlings
Mhm.
of sports media. where they want to see them win. They were giving it to the White Sox. This isn't the Cubs.
Yeah.
But people were still giving the division to the White Sox. Why?
Well, they felt they had the pieces, but there were some injuries last year, and I guess people thought that they had grown. So it was like I go back to the Cubs. It was like their 2015. So now it was time for them to make that jump. To me, part of the problem is I didn't think they did enough in the off season. Like
They
you
did
thought they were
not.
going to get
They did
somebody.
nothing in the offseason. They did nothing. The only good thing that came from the offseason was Johnny Cueto, and they do not get credit for that. They don't get credit for Johnny Cueto. They don't get credit for Elvis Andrews.
No, because those
You
are
just lucked into getting the guy who came and made a difference on your sorry team.
yeah, but because there were issues, and they knew that there were issues in the off season, and they just didn't do anything about it.
They needed a second baseman.
Yeah,
They
they did
didn't
not do
go
that.
get a real everyday second baseman. They
And,
needed a
and
right
then,
fielder. They did
yeah,
not go get and sign a real everyday right fielder.
no. Then they need a left-hand hitter, and that's
Yes,
why
and
when
so
some people were saying they
we've
could have
been
gone for
overdosed.
Schwarber.
Yes, we could have had Schwarber. We've been overdosed on Yasmani Grandal just for the sake of having a left-hand hitter.
Mm-hmm.
And Gavin Sheets, who has done okay, Sheets has come
Mm-hmm.
through. But when you're at the point when this team is needing to rely on Gavin Sheets, or rely on Andrew Vaughn, who's leading your team in home runs, that wasn't part of the plan.
No, and don't they have like a team full of first baseman / DH playing in the wrong spots because
Yeah,
there aren't enough
spread out
spots
now
for them,
too.
and sometimes it shows in their
Yeah,
play in the outfield that they don't belong there.
absolutely.
Then you don't want to replace them at the end of the game sometimes because you'll need that bat, but then you risk a key defensive play needing to happen in the outfield.
Which we've seen blunder after blunder. The inability to hit the cutoff man.
Mm-hmm.
The inability for the cutoff man to simply catch the ball.
Yeah.
There's a whole reel out there that somebody put together that I saw, I think on Twitter. It was full of White Sox cutoff errors just from this season. It was a disturbing amount of cutoff errors.
Mm.
Teams aren't afraid of you. They run on you. They know you're going to
Yeah.
blow the throw.
And then your key defensive outfielder isn't healthy. Robert.
Right. Hasn't been healthy all year. Been playing tentative all year.
Yeah.
Been playing soft, like he doesn't, like he's not all there all year.
Mm-hmm. And I guess
Injured or not. It just didn't look like he was putting 100% in all
Mm-hmm.
year. Luis Robert. I'm calling Luis Robert. And he's like one of my favorite players. But he can go too.
There you go too. Are you ready to say goodbye to Eloy?
No, that's your best hitter.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not ready to go and go through another rebuild, although this team is majorly flawed for what it's supposed to be.
Could they
Nobody
be
wants
used?
to rebuild, but
Yeah. No, you don't. Could they be used for trade chips?
well, absolutely.
Would you be willing to say goodbye if they in trades?
I think it depends on who's for.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you start trading them off for assets, well, then you're rebuilding.
No, I meant trading them for a good player. No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about someone who can play now, who maybe gives them something that they're missing, and maybe not Eloy because you said he's your best hitter. Um, I don't.
I
They
don't know.
definitely have to get the second base thing figured out next
And
year.
I guess there's
Yeah.
a question like, do you resign Pito? Do you resign Abreu? And I don't know at this point. Will he take another friendly deal? His last deal, the deal he's on, was a friendly deal. This is going to be
Well,
his last bigger deal.
mm-hmm,
You know what I mean? And it's like, are you
mm-hmm.
going to do another club friendly deal on what will probably be your last kind of big deal?
And now the way his power has gone down, his deal numbers are decreasing.
Absolutely.
And then he only hits. It's so proven that he only hits when it's warm.
It was hot.
So,
So he needs to go to
a dome
Houston,
or a hot place.
a hot place that is still hot
Yeah.
in the
And that's warm in April and if they get into October.
and he probably has to be ready to DH a lot more.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I was going to ask you. So since they have like Gavin Sheets, Andrew Vaughn, I don't know which one of them plays first base the best. Why haven't they just moved Jose Abreu to the DH so that you can get all those bats in?
I think because on one level, the DH has got to be played by Eloy now because you don't trust him in the outfield getting hurt again.
Yeah.
And so he's finally kind of accepted that role of being the DH, and he's done well.
Okay.
He's proven he can still hit at a high clip even
Okay.
without being in the outfield. So I would say as of recent, that's an issue because you need
Okay.
Eloy in your lineup, and
Mm.
you don't really want him out and left like
Yeah,
that running around,
that's true. Yeah, that's
which
true.
is unfortunate. And
Mm.
the guy's only 25 years old or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
he's still too young to just be DHing. But then who's to say that's even going to be a thing anymore now that the National League has a DH now? Maybe it'll be more of a hey, I just DH, career DH guys. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
usually that was reserved for older guys, but I don't know. Yeah, I would say Andrew Vaughn would be the guy to play at first to replace
Okay.
Pito at first, but now essentially you're probably talking about letting Abreu go then
Mm.
if you're ready to move Andrew Vaughn there.
And how much do you think that will impact the team?
Well, I think greatly. I think you are switching gears. If it's not a rebuild, you are definitely switching gears if you let Abreu go because he's the spirit
Mm-hmm.
of this team for what that's worth, and I think without him here, you're looking at then there's a couple of guys who I would imagine you're looking to move to,
Mm.
like Moncada for one.
Mm.
Fucking pretty boy. Just half there, half not there. No awareness. Thinking about Versace shirts. Some of them.
Does he wear those a lot?
Yeah, I saw him in that first game against Cleveland the other night. No, it was last night. Ground to field, a ground ball, and just casually throw it to first with Jose Ramirez digging, and he beat it because that's
He
how
probably,
Cleveland plays.
Yeah, and
They don't hit home runs either, really, but they do all the other things really well. They run the bases really well. They play defense really well. They do all the things really well that the Sox do poorly. The Sox are supposed to be exceptional at hitting home runs.
and
That
they're
was
not
their
even doing
calling
that.
card. That was well. There's many ways to win, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you don't have to be like this complete team to win, but you got to be exceptional somewhere.
That's something.
And they're built to be exceptional at hitting home runs, and they don't hit home
Home
runs.
runs, yeah. Yeah, they're not even doing that right.
When Andrew Vaughn is leading your team in home runs,
Mm,
that wasn't supposed to be. You know, like I mean, in Eloy, if Eloy was healthy, he'd be a monster.
right.
You know,
They
his, you
just
know,
can't
if he
stay
could do
healthy.
this 100 and what he's doing now, if he could do this 120 games, his numbers would be insane, you know, but
Mm.
Frank's a tank in the building.
Need a coach to teach them basic intent, Ozzy. How do they still not know basics?
So
That bothers me.
exactly. It's that's not what's stress. It was hitting. It was hitting home runs.
They can't do that either.
And they can't do that. They were doing that for like a year. And Ozzy, yes. But now if you're talking about how do you get this team to all of a sudden change their complete identity and become Cleveland and play the game well in many facets, similar to the '05 White Sox with Ozzy?
Mm-hmm.
They did all the little things well. They ran the bases efficiently. They played tight defense. They bunted. They gave themselves up to advanced runners. This Sox team doesn't do that. Everything is swinging for the fences
And then
because
they
that's
can't
what
even do
they
that.
were set up to do.
Well, and then that would be okay if they were actually
That,
doing it
that would be okay if they were actually swinging for the fences and getting them
and
over the fence.
connecting. Hey.
All would be well. Yeah, but therein
And
lies the
then,
problem.
so if you did bring in a coach who wanted them to play more like Cleveland, now you definitely are moving on from some people.
Absolutely, because that's a whole different mentality. And now you need to find guys who fit that model.
Yeah. So
And
now
I
you're
don't know if which of these guys fit that model. I'm not sure. And arguably their best player in Tim Anderson, I don't know if he fits that model, to be honest. Now, I'm
mm,
not inferring to get rid of Tim
mm,
Anderson. I think with the right coach, he could be, convinced
mm.
to play the game that way. But
Because what he wants to hit home runs. What do you think it is about him that it would be hard to change?
um no, I think Tim is just he's such a hitting machine, hitting for average, just those single,
Mm,
double, single, like because he hits so efficiently, I think that I don't want to say he doesn't try as hard with the glove.
mm.
I'm not saying that because I don't even know that it's an effort thing. Just like sometimes Tim isn't engaged or locked in, it seems like when he's on the field.
Gavin Sheets just hit a home run, number 14.
One of the top home run hitters.
At 14, well, you have Aaron Judge at 60.
Man, just I mean, it's like
He has 46 more home runs.
it's literally like he hit 13 home runs in 1998 during the height of the steroid era. Like, okay, well, you're not doing steroids. You're not like, why aren't you getting on board?
Oh boy. Mm.
Could it be a bad home run year? Was a fluke? They have power. They can't hit home runs. Just didn't do it consistently this year. And they were hitting home runs more recently. In the month of September, they're among the top in home runs in all of the majors after being dead last the rest of the season. You know, coincidentally, it came with Tony La Russa's departure. Coincidentally.
Yeah, because now they're playing like Tony Lewis is there again.
Yeah, well, you're just looking at a broken team now. After, they really did what they could do on that first night. And, when I saw them put in Jake Diekman, I was like, okay, the game's over. And that was on Miguel Cairo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did you not put in I can't remember the guy's name.
That Jeremy guy?
No, not Lambert. You could have put him in, and he did come in eventually. But who I was thinking of as God, it's slipping my mind right now. Guy kind of my complexion. Anyways, I don't know why he put Diekman in. I knew Diekman was going to get it up, and to the tune of a 5 spot in extra innings, he gave it up.
Tune of a 5 spot.
Yeah. Ozzy's World Series team was still a top 5 home run hitting team, top 5 RBI team, top 7 bunting team, top 10 stealing team. He managed all of it. Yeah.
I don't think he had the same players.
I mean, they did hit home runs for sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
But they did the other, like, I don't know. Yeah.
Small ball stuff as well. Well, okay. Well, Cleveland could like fall apart.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I just don't understand. How are they losing? I can't believe they're losing. Like, I just can't believe. I can't believe that whatever, I don't know, whatever motivation, whatever they needed, like, this is must win, fellas, must win. Now they can still come back and win because now it's 4-2. But the fact that they're losing at this point, and you ask me, how do I not understand? I don't. I know watching this team all year, this is what they do, but where there's I know you can only do what you can do, but there's something. There's not an extra. Where's the extra? I know gear is not the right word because
balls. Where's the balls? Where's
the pride?
Your grit? There's no dog. There's no dog in this team. There's like a temperamental little chihuahua in there who goes on a little tangent here and there, but like isn't like a dog, like gritting it out, like making people concerned when they have to play them.
Mm-hmm.
No energy on this team.
Yeah.
And we could talk a lot about the coaching when we talk about the energy of this team. When they were Ricky's kids or whatever, they were kind of
they energetic last year.
What'd you say?
Weren't they energetic last year?
No.
Oh,
I don't think so. At the beginning they were, but the second half of the season.
Okay. They
lost their spirit. And this is where this, and I tweeted this Nobody saw it. Nobody cares about what I tweet. But I tweeted this that Steve Stone, he owes the fans an apology for acting like the fans were so stupid and emotional for being concerned back in May and in June. Because we were concerned not just from April, May, and June, but also the whole second half of last year too. So now we're going on a whole half a season of what we ended up seeing all year.
Yeah. He didn't. I mean, you did see the problems right away. And of course, there's always, there's a lot of time. There's more, the season's long, all the stuff you heard. But the signs were there right away.
I understand you got to toe the line a little bit, and I understand he wasn't going to concede that early. But we were right.
He acted like the fans were so stupid. And you know what? He was actually on radio, and he said something that the fans on Twitter are actually somehow blaming him for the White Sox troubles. He's like, I didn't sign anybody. I don't put that line up out there. I don't pitch that person in that spot.
So now, but now he's actually kind of sort of being critical about who they signed.
Yeah.
About the pitching order.
The lineup.
You wouldn't say any of that during the season though, Steve. It was all good. Like,
there's plenty of time.
There's plenty of time.
Long season. Well, yeah, that's true. But if you're still doing the same thing you did last year, what are people supposed to think?
What are we supposed to think? What is it that and the fans, they've dangled that carrot. That carrot got dangled with a game every 2 or 3 weeks that said maybe this is it.
Yeah.
Maybe this is when the turnaround starts. Remember when the whole Josh Donaldson thing happened in New York? Remember how long ago that was? Remember that moment? It seemed like, oh, this might be the thing. It's gonna be the thing that galvanizes
together. Yeah. And then they lose the next game or something like that.
Well, they wound up beating New York the rest of that series, but then they wet the bed 3 days later.
Okay, all right. So they couldn't sustain it past the New York
moment. Yes, Frank, Ronaldo Lopez.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. That's the one who's my complexion. Yes. Very good. That's the guy.
You said the guy my complexion.
Yeah. Yeah, so why was Diekman in the game? Instead of your proven guy. I mean, hell, even Joe Kelly's had a good run recently, but Diekman hasn't.
Yeah, that wasn't the time to try to get him right.
No. And I'm not about to get in throwing a whole bunch of blame on Miguel Cairo at this point, because I will give him credit. He did, give the team a bit of a boost, but the team is still the team. They still are lacking what they lack, and going up against a team who's playing like Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland can't lose. I mean, they put it to the Twins, beat the hell out of the Twins.
They did
for 4 out of 5 games. And they're on a tear. I was talking with Ruben the other day, and we're like, man, they could win it. They could really win it. The way they play, how efficient they play, and aggressive they play, they could really win it all. Or they can go really deep in the playoffs. And I'm not just saying that because we're losing to him, but like it's really impressive, just from a baseball standpoint, looking at this Cleveland team play. Like they play really good, like, and they're a fun team to watch. And it is almost kind of like Frank, that '05 team that just does everything really, really well, and like just have a system and a coach who's a manager who's just like running it, and who have bought in, and like you have a guy like Terry Francona, like yeah, sure that they're all in, and their leader, their main guy, and Jose Ramirez, the way he plays, the hell of a third baseman, the way he runs the bags, and that's your leader. Um,
Remember when people laughed at him for staying there?
yeah, and that's still TBD. I think ultimately,
Yeah.
I still think it's to be determined. You know,
But for this year, it looks okay.
yeah, looks okay this year. He got one thing right. This is the easiest path into the playoffs is this division.
That's true. That
I mean,
is
the
true.
Sox couldn't even hang with Kansas City this year.
Haven't they always been kind of their problem?
I mean, a bit, but we rolled over them last year.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, they were, like they're divisional rival. They're always everybody, except for usually one team will give you hell. Like the Pirates are gonna give the Cubs hell just because,
Mm-hmm.
and but like the Sox, like Detroit, they always generally have Detroit's number,
Mm-hmm.
but they got their asses handed to them mostly by Minnesota, many times by Kansas City, and obviously a ton of times by Cleveland.
Mm.
And other news, more exciting baseball news, Aaron Judge is batting in the bottom of the ninth of a 4-4 tie, looking for that elusive
61st.
61st. Wow, how come we don't have anything like that going on? Like, man, Aaron Judge, he really bet on himself. Like,
Sure did. I
mm,
wonder. I wonder who he's going to go to.
oh man,
The Yankees will probably come up with the money.
surely, if only Jerry Reinsdorf would throw everything at him.
I mean,
We need
he's
a right fielder.
and he's been playing a lot of center field here, so he can play wherever you put him.
We aren't spending a lot of money at all.
No,
We've
he's
got
out.
most of our guys through like
He didn't hit one.
uh just missed it. I think we can say a lot of shit about the season. I didn't see any leadership this year too. It was two. Yeah.
Remember, you said that at the very beginning.
Yeah.
See, that's a question mark.
Yeah. Giolito really wet the bed
What
this year.
happened to him? Giolito. Woo.
He probably is what he is. He had he might be a who was Jake? Jake from the Cubs.
Oh, Arietta.
Yeah. I mean, you get a good 1-2 years and that's it.
Jake Arrieta fell apart when he started arguing about whether he was on steroids.
Oh, well then I didn't know about that part. So then there you
And
go.
people thought he was.
Uh,
And he, was, no, I'm not, blah, blah, blah.
so he
And
clearly was, and then he stopped using them.
and maybe he stopped.
And then
He was bad. You should have just kept your mouth shut and kept on using them.
yeah.
Let people think what they want to think. A lot of people think Judge is. until he's
I mean,
proven
sure,
guilty.
sure.
Because while he's hit a lot of home runs, never this many, and when no one else is hitting them.
Well, no one else is hitting him.
I think that's what makes people question, like, how come you're the only one? But he wouldn't be the only one using steroids. So
They got some new shit out there. That's
the thing is with roids, as we always said, if you can't hit the ball, it's not gonna matter.
right.
You'll just be a bulked up strikeout.
Yeah. And you saw a lot of those during the steroid era.
Yeah. Well, okay. So we're in the top of the ninth, right? Let me see.
Oh, there's Ronaldo Lopez.
Now they're in the bottom of the ninth.
You know,
There's
this
a chance.
Cleveland team just got better as the year went on.
They did, yeah, they did. Remember when it was just the Minnesota White Sox and the Cleveland? Yeah. But the Cleveland kept hanging around.
They just kept hanging around. It slowly got better.
Yeah. And they just waited for the opportunity, and neither the Sox nor the Minnesota wanted it.
It was there.
This division was so there for the Sox.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much dirt I want to throw on the White Sox at this point.
You know, you're so so resigned and so just low, and you're not irate. You're out of energy for that. Or they,
you know, I think it takes a lot to get me to irate these days. But then I never get all that happy about stuff either. I don't know. I think it's the meds or something that got me like compressed, like not too high, not too low, just right in the middle. Right in the middle. It's better this way, I think.
Oh boy, let's see.
What get those meds adjusted right, you know.
Well, you know,
gotta give to get.
Yeah.
Give some of my joy for a little less rage.
Oh man.
Hey. Priorities, man.
Yeah. And that's good, you know, when you're aware of these things.
No, Frank, I'm not on roids.
Then he had roid rage.
Roid rage.
Come on, Frank, so it's not roids.
I'm on roads. No, I'm not on roads or roids, Frank.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a shame that now Sox fans are thinking about whether
this rebuild has officially failed, right? 2017, 18, 19, those years, those really lean years, as they like to call them, that we waited and waited and waited, and then we got a peak of it in the COVID season. And then this is it. It officially failed.
So you say
most rebuilds fail. Most rebuilds fail all across the league, all across sports. Most of them fail, right? Yeah. People rebuilding all the time.
Down to their last out.
Frank, this rebuild hasn't failed. It's 1 year. They can come surprise their next year with the right manager. I don't know, Frank.
It's only been 1 year. Where did they rebuild yet last year?
Well, I think he just counted this as of a bad year.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, Frank. You know, I'm kind of past putting all of this on Tony La Russa and the managing and the coaching staff. And I'm certainly they certainly should be held accountable. And I do think that it mattered a lot how the team was managed and handled and coached, and absolutely that was a huge factor. But I
But
still think you're gonna have to change some of these players out, though.
yeah, it was a failure on management as well.
It was a failure in management,
Not,
upper
yeah,
management,
they,
coaching. Tony La
they didn't
Russa.
do anything at the trade deadline. They
Yeah.
didn't do, or what they did at the trade line wasn't the impact that they needed to make.
Mm-mm.
Uh, they they just kept believing that this team would get it together. Well, why? Why did you believe that? You've been watching them all year,
Mm-hmm.
and you knew Tony was going to be here all year, so you need to get somebody else in there.
It's just poor judgment, poor decision making by owners, by management, and by management I mean upper management.
Mm.
Poor decision making. You put this team together. You paraded Dallas Keuchel out there for months
Before you decided enough.
before you decided to finally sit his ass down.
Yeah, he should have had a phantom injury.
You
Probably
kept
after his
sending him
second
out
start.
there for months. From late last year, all of this earlier this year, you kept sending it. Like that is a failure, as an organizational failure,
Yeah.
and just poor judgment. You did not go get a second baseman. And you thought you could
Yeah.
just piecemeal it together. Let's
Why would you
sign
piecemeal?
Leary.
Yeah. Why would you piecemeal such a critical position?
Your middle infield.
Yeah.
Like you gonna platoon your middle infield?
I don't understand that thinking.
What was that? You
Yeah.
knew Josh Harrison wasn't
Mm-mm.
the answer. As nice enough guy as he seems to be.
Yeah. Another thing we do in this town is we overvalue our young talent way too
Yes,
much.
we do.
And
Fall in love with these
we feel as though
young
they're
stars and
so
like,
untouchable because we keep thinking about potential. But then you wait 5 years. Now you've wasted 5 years of your actual stars who are playing well, and they're just missing a couple of pieces, and you won't go get those pieces because you keep thinking that this potential is going to finally come through. And now all your stars are old or they've left you, and you're still stuck with this potential
that never quite pans out.
Yeah, it's like people are afraid. Like for example, the Cubs. Okay, they traded Eloy and Cease. So yeah, the Cubs look crazy because Cease is good and Eloy is good when he's there. But you can't be afraid of that.
Right.
Now, but you got to get something.
They were in win now.
Yeah, exactly.
They were in win now, so you get it. I question why they won Jose Quintana.
Yeah, exactly.
They were in win now.
Their window, they knew that window was closing.
Yeah.
That wasn't the right person to get, but if they had to trade Cease and Eloy to get something better, yeah, you understood it. Just like you understood who they traded for Aroldis. But it seems like sometimes, or the White Sox seem to be afraid of, if they let go of some of these, they'll become a star someplace else. But it doesn't matter as long as your team's winning.
Doesn't matter.
You got to make that move.
You see Houston, even Houston lets a guy like Correa go, and they just keep marching on.
They sure do.
They just keep marching on.
You're only afraid like that if you know your whole team's bad. Houston knows that they have other pieces. Now they offer Correa a deal. You didn't want it?
Yeah.
Okay, you go. They can always go back and try to get Correa next year since he'll probably opt out. But they didn't even need him really.
No.
So the Sox can't be afraid this offseason. Someone may have to go to get something good. Now I'm not
And if
talking
you
about
want to keep a guy like Abreu around, fine, then trade Andrew Vaughn because he's a valuable trade piece.
Yeah. You're going to have to give up something to get something because you don't need to rebuild, but you do need to retool.
I mean, you know, that's what we always hope for is the
And
retool.
then they do a Bears move, or they do a Cubs move.
It's just a retool.
All right, the Cubs. Oh, we're not rebuilding.
Yeah.
Then you just DFA'd Frank, the other Frank the Tank,
Oh,
or cut him. Whatever they did with Frank Schwindel. Schwindy Cities no more.
Schwindy City's no more.
Ooh, you talk about a one-hit wonder.
He had a moment. He had his 15.
You know, he could have stayed around like Patrick Wisdom if he at least hit home runs and walked sometimes. He wasn't doing anything. But yeah, the Sox.
Rizzo's replacement is no more.
Oh my gosh, and they acted like. I mean, I know Chris Bryant's hurt this year or whatever, but they still haven't even gotten Bryant's replacements. They have Javi's because Nico's hitting, but Nico can go to second base and they can get another shortstop next year. They can go after Correa. You know, the Ricketts and all of them, they've already told the lies so far this year that they have plenty of money and they'll be competitive. Didn't we hear that crap last year? We'll see if they're not lying this time. They looked in those stands and saw those green seats, so they may be halfway telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because they announced the attendance as 40,000 people, but you look in those stands on an 85-degree day in Chicago, and there's maybe 25,000, 30 at the most.
I think when they announced those numbers, I think a lot of them are tickets that are like given away and that people might not even be using.
Right, because you buy all these tickets in February and March, hoping that maybe they'll be okay. But as the season goes along, you're like, I'm not getting ready to go there.
Yeah.
So
because it's not a convenience to go to a damn baseball game.
No, it's not. You spend a lot of money. You at least want to see
nothing convenient about it. It's nothing about like what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's nothing like that. You spend a lot of money, and time, and effort to go, and you don't want to be bothered doing that for a shit team.
No, not at all.
Wow, I didn't believe we could take up this much time.
Yeah, you thought we needed fillers.
You know, I'm just tired, Kristen. I'm tired.
It's hard.
It's just enough to break you down. Well, I learned more about the game this season watching so much of it. I'm gonna sink with the ship, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it unfold and watch them bleed out. And that's the thing. They were, you know, the Cubs were DOA. You know what I mean? Like, no big deal. Like, we watched this team bleed slowly in with menial attempts to cauterize a broken blood vessel here and there, or to just open back up in a matter of days, and just this anemic, sleepy team.
Do you think they have a new manager next year?
Yes, I don't think I think we've seen the end of Tony La Russa.
Tony,
yeah. We don't even know where Tony is now. Remember, like at first it was like, oh, he flew with the team. He's at his house in Arizona. It's like nobody even knows or cares anymore.
The last right, he hadn't been medically cleared yet.
Yeah, and that was a while ago. Now it's kind of like, I don't know. I haven't even, you know, you don't even hear as much about it. But I, you know, I wish him the best. I hope he just gets healthy, and that's his focus is his
Yeah.
health, and not this team. You know what I mean? Like it's not even worth his health.
And it's time for him to,
Yeah,
I know like people say that the game is passing by, and it has, and he just doesn't have the energy. He
yeah,
doesn't have the energy for an energetic team.
yeah.
And they need a new voice, a new spirit. I don't even know if it's Miguel Cairo. They just need to do a nice
Well, I don't think so. And I like Miguel, and because he's just such a breath of fresh air.
mhm,
But I think he's still part of the Tony La Russa regime,
yeah.
so to speak. So I think and you're talking about Frank Minichino, like I think they all, outside of Ethan Katz, I think they've all
Mhm.
got to get shuffled, removed, booted, whatever. Tony's at the strip club. You think so, Frank? He might be, which is why we haven't heard from him.
Maybe that's why he was always so sleepy.
He could be perfectly healthy for all we know at this point, and just not coming back.
Oh man, I don't
He's
know.
like, I'm healthy, but I pass. Like,
Like, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore.
yeah.
Yeah,
And he goes out with a whimper, like this team is doing,
they lost again.
and
So
it
now
doesn't
we're
have to
7
be.
games out.
Yeah, I mean, now you've just been
It's
swept.
getting close to being over.
Yeah, you just got swept.
How many games are left in the season?
Too many.
Let me see. So they're 76, and so they have 12 games? No. Yeah, there's only 12 games left.
That's why.
No, there's only 12 games left. That can't be right. 10, 14, 50, yeah, it's 150. Mm.
So it's 5 games in October.
Yeah, there's only 12. Huh. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
12 games
They're both
remaining.
at 150. Hey, they need so the Guardian they need the Guardians to go 4-8. If they have to go, it's over.
Yeah, yeah. We still got the Padres.
I was trying to think of a way to
We
make
still
it
and the
okay.
nerve to have to fly all the way out to the West Coast to play the Padres, who are fighting for a spot.
Yeah,
Like
I was trying to make a way.
no, there's just I just well. With that being said, I think this is a good place
To go.
to go. Now we still have at least one more show. We still got one more show,
Okay.
and
On
that'll probably
the
be it.
what? What's our next show? On the second? Yep.
That it? Yeah, the second. All right, Cleveland will probably Cleveland will probably lose their next three to make it interesting. Yes, I just want it over with, and that is so something that would happen.
Yeah.
Cleveland will get Clevelandy for a minute and shaky, and then the Sox will win three, and it's like, oh, we're only 3-4 games back now. We're still in this thing,
Yeah.
and it's like,
People will
oh
be
my
like,
god,
there's
like
a chance.
they are gonna hold us hostage for
Why
the
not?
next two
They're
weeks.
like, what else you all got to do?
What else you got to do besides be held hostage? Well, with that being said, this is Plunked, the show that celebrates two teams, one of which we barely even talked about.
And for good reasons.
for good reason. I was watching. Who were they playing? That I was watching recently, and it was just like, man, this is like, who are these guys?
Right. Right.
It was like almost like watching. It was worse than watching the Bears because I know more Bears players, and I hardly know any Bears players.
Right.
But it was even worse with the Cubs. I'm like, who are these people? Like the people that I didn't know at the beginning of the year, now they're gone, and now there's other new people that I don't know. Like
it's almost like watching spring training.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And then they're
except
not
there's
even
no
bringing up
like good A squad or like
right because they're not even bringing up their stars.
yeah, they're just kind of conceding, understandably. All right, Deb.
Yeah, we can root for your team now. Yeah, I guess so.
We'll show them the New York Mets some love for sure.
Good
Somebody
thing
I
for them
know has got to be happy.
Right, good thing for them they don't have to play the Cubs.
I know, right? After getting swept by the Cubs, that's the type of stuff that just pisses you off. This crazy game of baseball.
Deb said that the Cubs were going to do all right. I just did not believe it.
You just couldn't have imagined, right?
No. And I was like, what? She was right when I was watching the game.
Yep.
Go Pujols. You can go home.
Not the lifelong Cardinal.
Yeah, he can go away.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. This is Emilio Bucks.
This is Kristen Fertit.
And we will see you all in 2 weeks. And hey, who knows what 2 weeks will
Sox
look
will
like. Don't even start. Don't even start. But you never know, right?
Right, Emilio will come back in like, oh, I see the fire in these guys finally. You'll be sucked in to get happy.
I'm an idiot. Of course. Yep. Idiot Chicago sports fan. Yes, I'd be sucked in, of course. All right, folks. Until 2 weeks from now, thank you and good night.